sounds good.
Okay, good. All right, you sound great. All right, Rosie, take it away.
Okay, can you hear me using the headphones?
Yeah, much better now. Yeah.
It's better? Okay,
yeah.
I don't think they were. Okay, so hi, Zach. Could you please tell me what your major is and if you started with that major?
Yeah, I'm an economics major, and I came in undeclared, and then I have switched my major a couple times between business administration with econ emphasis, and then now I just switched to the straight economics major.
Okay. And why did you?
Zach, before you go on, what was the reason that you had made those switches?
Well, part of it was just for fitting in the financial planning minor. There were less classes I needed to take for the econ major compared to some of the extra business administration classes. So it just fit in my schedule easier. But then also at my internship this summer, I saw a lot of the people working there had economics majors. So, I thought that didn't hurt as well. I saw that obviously it applied to the field. So
Right. So the economic major pairing with the financial planning minor from a credit perspective is a lot more attractive to you. I guess that's a yes.
yeah, for me that's what works out.
All right, Rosie, sorry to interrupt.
No worries. So why did you, I think we covered it, but why did you decide to be a financial planning minor?
I decided, like I said initially, I just had room in my schedule and it was kind of similar to my major. But then talking to Dr. Chen and taking the class with Dr. Salehi, then I ended up seeing it kind of as, my future career. So that's what it turned into.
That sounds great. And what are your plans for after you graduate?
Right now I'm actually looking into the 4+1 program. So I might be doing trying to finish up my master's degree after I graduate. But then once I'm in the job market, I'm just probably going to be looking to apply to some firms in California to start. And then I wouldn't really be opposed to even moving out of the state, a couple years down the road, maybe.
Okay.
Zach, you mentioned about potentially considering 4+1. Do you know what program you're going to go into?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, not sure yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had a couple calls with the leaders of those programs for the financial planning masters and then for the MBA in finance. Okay. So those are the two I'm really looking at.
So just to kind of let you know, if you choose to go through the financial planning route, you will be immediately put into the advanced track because you are undergraduate, you've done all the core courses. So it doesn't make sense for you to repeat the core courses, even though they're a little bit much more depth compared to the undergrad. But then you will be advancing to what we call the advanced track, which means that you're going to learn a lot more than just the regular core courses.
Yeah, those courses in the advanced track looked really interesting. So that would.
Yes, you will have fun doing that.
Definitely.
Okay, back to Rosie.
So do you have any plans for the next 3 to 5 years? And do you have a dream job that you would love to have?
No set plans for the next 3 to 5 years, I guess. Kind of just trying to get, started with the kind of entry-level jobs in the industry. But then, I guess my dream job would probably be running my own firm one day, having my own, financial planning operation, whether that's, with some other partners that I'm going in with or kind of going out on my own. But eventually having my own business basically would be the dream job.
Okay. And what value are you receiving from being a CLU financial planning minor?
So besides just like the necessary, requirements to be sitting for the CFP, which is, you know, a very important certification. I feel like I'm being able to work, you know, really personally with all the faculty and my professors, and even working personally, you know, with like the small group of students we have is really beneficial. Just trying to get, you know, my specific, you know, individual questions answered whenever they come up. It's never an issue, like I'm sure it is at some bigger schools.
So Zach, can I go back a couple more questions regarding about, you mentioned that you chose to be in the financial planning. If I recall correctly, you play sports, and did you choose financial planning because of the sports type of influence, or did you choose to be in financial planning because of family members are in the business? So tell us a little bit about your sports background and why you choose to go into financial planning.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing sports my entire life, and, you know, I thought that was kind of a big part of, you know, high school, especially for me. It was just kind of all sports. And then now at Cal Lutheran, I've been on the baseball team here. And then the financial planning, you know, I guess my dream job would be being, you know, a financial planner for athletes, for pro baseball players and all that. But I guess that's kind of how it started with the interest. Once I, you know, thought maybe this is the minor I could be doing or the career I could be doing. And then also I did have some family members in the business. My dad was more on the insurance side, but, you know, he knew about, or, you know, I would go into the office with him and kind of see that part of the industry. But yeah, I guess there was never an exact moment or people that were really pushing me into financial planning. I guess it just kind of, I felt like a lot of the values fit with what I was looking for in a job. So it just ended up matching up.
So Zach, in terms of your dad in the insurance industry, does he have his own practice?
No, he does not. And he's actually been kind of out of that job for a couple years now. He moved out of that field.
Okay.
But, you know, growing up, I didn't really know exactly what his job was. But yeah, like I said, I just kind of remember going into the office a lot with him. And then that was, you know, it was just kind of a similar setting, I guess, to the internship I had my summer of sophomore year, where I was in a wealth management office again. So that's just.
So what impressed you the most when you were visiting his office back then? What impressed you the most?
What I like the most with him, especially, and I think he might even have this more than me, but he really is a salesman, but not in a bad way, as far as where he really connects with his clients and he is able to build relationships with them. And I, you know, see him talking to them inside and outside of the office, just being someone that, you know, they can, you know, rely on. Obviously it was for insurance and not their just comprehensive financial planning. But that was, I like seeing that relationship he had with his clients.
Great.
Yeah.
Back to you, Rosie. Thank you.
Okay. Where were we? Okay. So what value are you receiving from being a C? I think I asked you that question. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
What would you recommend this minor to other students?
Yeah, I would. And I have been, especially to my baseball teammates, I've been recommending this minor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because I think, you know, even if you don't have room in your schedule, I think especially a lot of the intro level classes are super beneficial just for your own personal finances and your own personal life, even if you're not using that for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach, in terms of working with athletes, what do you think the athletes needs the most?
Well, you know, I think part of it is that a lot of the athletes, well, and at the professional level, they're young people usually, or, you know, by the end of their careers, they're still fairly young, but middle-aged. and then you're making all of your money so quickly, usually when, or in a lot of cases, where you haven't had an experience with that amount of money ever before. So I think it's, well, and just the side of it that I would like is being able to talk with them and connect with them, and being able to figure out, you know, the best steps for like making that, whether they have just 5 years of earning time, making that wealth last for, you know, generations for their family, basically.
Right. So Rosie, just to kind of let you know in terms of the differences in planning for athletes, their shelf life, if you will, is very short. And like Zach was saying, that they tend to make tons of money at those very, very short career life. But those needs to be properly managed to enable for them to last entire lifetime. Some athletes will have good advisors like Zach, you know, future Zach,
Yes.
that will be able to manage well enough that they could potentially launch into or can afford to have a second career, if you will. So if you look at many athletes after they retire from either golf or baseball and things like that, they tend to launch a different venture. Now, if they don't have those wealth properly managed, launching that could potentially put themselves in danger. And on top of it is that some athletes are not financial literate, if you will. They could potentially blow up all these wealth in very, very short time. Not they've been taken care of for the rest of their life. So it's a very niche field, if you will. And so going through financial planning, if you wanted to niche in the athletes, there's an extra step. You have to get permission from the Athletes Association to be proven on the list and able to provide such services.
Yeah, that second like, certification, basically. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow. And when you talk to your friends and your co-workers on the team, what type of response do you get about the financial planning minor?
Well, I do think a lot of people just don't really either know about what it even is, or a lot of people just have these thoughts where it's, you know, more of the stockbroker, stock trader guy just coming in, and but then, you know, I guess more of the business majors are more inclined to listening to it, and I feel like once people kind of understand and hear about what it actually is, then the responses are pretty positive and people are interested, and I think a lot of people are interested in, you know, down the road in the job, just the lifestyle that you can have is pretty appealing.
Talk about what do you mean by down the road lifestyle looks like in terms of how you see that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the way I see that is having the ability to have like a work-life balance where, you know, especially if I'm running my own firm and, you know, I'm not necessarily in the office every day, even though I'm, you know, probably on the phone with clients every day, but I can still be with my family, be on trips, and I'm not, you know, I'm not tied down to an 8 to 5 job 5 days a week. And I can still be, you know, doing the things that are important to me outside of my job. But also I see it as a job where there's something new and interesting every day, so that, you know, it doesn't even necessarily feel like work, I guess, the same way maybe an office job where you're just sitting behind a computer can sometimes.
Yeah, so just to add to what Zach and Dr. Shen said here, mentioned here, in this profession, it's really easy for you to have a balance between your personal life and your professional life. And it's totally up to you how many clients do you want to have. If you are really work addict and you really want to actually spend 24/7 with your clients, you can have, I don't know, 100 clients and, you know, just keep yourself busy with your clients. But if you're happy with having maybe 20, 25 clients and meeting and having these monthly meetings with them, you know, just to make sure that everything looks okay with their financial plan. Of course, you need to have some other people, you know, in your team to kind of keep track of their portfolios or maybe their plans, make sure that they're on the right track to reach their financial goals. But other than that, you can actually have a monitoring position and kind of control and oversee your team. So it's totally up to you how you want to, you know, manage your practice. Do you want to be involved 100% with everything and have like hundreds of clients, or just you want to have a really small group of clients and have a, you know, deeper relationship with them and keep some time for yourself, for your family?
Yeah. Really.
Yeah, that sounds great. And how would you summarize your experience in financial planning so far?
So far, I think it's been just a great overall learning experience, I guess is the way I'd put it, as far as just I feel like I've actually taken in the information from these classes.
I think you are cutting off. Can you repeat your answer, please?
Yeah, can you hear me clearly now? Or is it still-
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just saying that I think the information that I've learned in the classes, I can really see how I'm gonna be putting that to use either in the job market, in the job field down the road, or, you know, everything applies to being on the CFP test and preparing us for that. And then especially just like Dr. Salehi, I know he really pushed us to take the SIE exam, which is an intro exam for the financial services industry. So just knowing that our professors are really looking at, you know, what's going to be helping us in getting a job and in the market after we graduate. So I think it's just been beneficial from learning a lot and also putting myself in a position to be getting a job coming out of the program.
Mm-hmm. What have you enjoyed most about the financial planning minor?
I think I've enjoyed just the small groups we've had most, and being able to work in the smaller, more personal environment, whether it's with Dr. Salehi with individual questions on the projects, or if it's just bouncing ideas off like our other classmates on some assignments, or if we have questions even in class, we can talk to each other sometimes and figure it out really quickly. So just being able to have a, you know, even though it's a smaller group, just a group of people where we're all kind of working towards the same goals.
Okay, that sounds great. So I know that you were involved with the TD, I might say this wrong, Ameritrade conference with Dr. Salehi. Can you briefly explain what this conference was about?
Yeah, Dr. Salehi and I got to go out to Orlando for a weekend. We were flown out there and had our hotels covered by TD Ameritrade. So for me, I got to, there was 2 students from 30 different universities, and all of the students were put through kind of a little bit of a training and just teaching sessions throughout the weekend about learning about the industry and learning how to interact with different advisors we might meet, and there were different networking sessions. And then besides the students there were also thousands of advisors from across the country that we were able to talk to about, you know, their personal experiences and their careers. And, you know, a lot of people were looking for jobs or internships coming out of that conference, so it was more focused on networking for a job. But yeah, a really great trip. Besides just the learning, it was a lot of fun too. So it was a really good experience.
What was your biggest takeaway from the conference?
I think my biggest takeaway was just how, like, I think literally every advisor there that I talked to mentioned at some point how much they love their jobs, and yeah, how thankful they were they had gotten into the industry however many years ago they did. And everyone was so, helpful to the younger group. It isn't an overly competitive field. Everyone has their own clients that they're working with, and if there's any little ways to be helping out or learning from other advisors, then that works too. And yeah, so just seeing that was my biggest takeaway.
Can you explain who TD Ameritrade is to someone who doesn't know?
Yeah, TD Ameritrade is just they're a pretty large financial services company. They offer some tools and support for financial advisors, different databases and technology services, whether that's for trading or just managing client portfolios. But then they also have their own planners within the company that have their own clients, and they advise as well. So they kind of do it all. They're a really large company.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add about the conference and the experience you had that I may have missed in the questions?
No, I'm very thankful that Kalu gave me the opportunity to go there, and thank you to Dr. Salehi again. I think we had a great time out there.
Okay, so the next few questions are about your time at Kalu and as a student. So I was wondering, what was your favorite part about CLU?
My favorite part about CLU, I think, is just being able to go to school and just be around all my friends. I feel like I've met a great group of people here, especially my baseball team. We've gotten really close, and then I've really, really enjoyed the smaller classrooms and smaller class sizes, so that I've been able to, I feel like, learn more and also get to know and build relationships with my professors.
And what is one interesting thing about you in CLU?
Well, basically all of my free time besides schoolwork is going towards baseball. So there's not too much interesting besides that, I guess. But that's kind of my my routine.
How long have you been playing baseball for?
I think since I was about 4 or 5 years old, pretty much as long as I can remember.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Who influences you the most at CLU and why?
Definitely my group of friends and teammates influence me. I feel like we're all hard workers in and out of the classroom. We want to make sure we're successful on the field, of course, but we, especially the people in my major that are on the team as well, we're all working together in school too. So I think I have a good group of friends and students around me where we're all, making sure we're working towards the right things.
So besides from baseball, do you have any other hobbies or talents that we may not know about?
I love playing pickup basketball. It's one of my favorite things. I'm one of the taller people playing, but now I only like to shoot 3-point hits because my coaches never let me in high school. But so I guess that's one hobby. And then I like to go to the beach and go on hikes, just being outside. So just pretty general stuff like that.
Yeah. And if you could do one thing differently as a student, what would it be?
One thing different. I think earlier in especially my freshman year, I didn't quite know all the study tools and how much time I really needed to be putting in to, be successful in school. But I guess more from the side of, not making sure I'm getting A's in class, but just making sure that I'm getting the most out of the classes and out of the lessons, that I'm actually learning the information that I'm going to be, using in my future. So just, I would have figured that out, I guess, a little bit earlier than after my freshman year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think many students feel like that.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I think so.
So is there anything else you'd like to add? There are all the questions that I had for you today.
No, I think I'm good. Thanks for all the questions, though.
No worries. Does anyone else have any questions?
You did great.
Yeah, great job.
Cool, thank you.
Well,
All
thank you, Zach, and thank you,
Thank you.
Rosie. And you guys have a great weekend, and stay safe.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
I'll see you in about a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care.
Stay safe,
Okay.
guys. Bye.
Bye.